Curious about Italian interiors? Italian decorative style is as varied as its food culture and changes region by region. Join me as I chat with my friend and Italian real estate expert Nikki Taylor about the rich tapestry of Italian interior design. From the rustic yet elegant charm of Puglia's Masserias to the opulent palazzi of Venice, we'll give you some insider tips on incorporating Italy's regional styles into your own home on episode 249 of the Untold Italy podcast.
Ciao a tutti and benvenuti to Untold Italy, the travel podcast where you go to the towns and villages, mountains and lakes, hills and coastlines of Bella Italia. Each week your host, Katy Clarke, takes you on a journey in search of magical landscapes, history, culture, wine, gelato, and of course, a whole lot of pasta. If you're dreaming of Italy and planning future adventures there, you've come to the right place.
Buongiorno, ciao everyone. I hope you're doing well and dreaming of Italy. I'm up to my eyeballs in decision making as we're currently building a new home and we're at the fun stage of choosing interiors. Of course, it would be strange if I didn't take some inspiration from my travels in Italy, and it got me thinking about all the different design styles you see across the country as you travel around. Because there really isn't such a thing as Italian style. Just like Italian food culture, you'll find the traditional styles of each region differ dramatically. And I have to say, I do prefer some more than others. Joining us today is someone who sees the inside of a lot of Italian houses. Nikki Taylor is a property consultant who lives in beautiful Puglia in the south of Italy. Nikki has appeared on House Hunters International several times and has the exciting job of helping clients find their dream home in Italy. Imagine that. So let's dive in and journey through Italy's beautiful, complex and different interior design styles, and you'll find out exactly which ones I prefer and which ones Nikki prefers too. Bentornata, Nikki! Ciao and welcome back to the Untold Italy podcast.
Thank you so much, Katie. So good to be back. I think this is my third one now, so it's good to be back after a while.
I'm so thrilled to have you back on the show, and you're dialing in, of course, from beautiful Puglia. And what's been happening there lately?
We have had absolutely strange weather this summer. September has been an absolute washout. It was quite strange, but we needed some rain, and this week has been completely 30 degrees, sunshine and lovely. So it's been absolutely beautiful here in Puglia the last few days.
The second summer, beautiful.
The second summer.
So listeners, Nikki has been on the podcast a couple of years ago now, I think. So you may not know the story of how she came to be living in Puglia. So Nikki, can you share how you got there and what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So I have been in Italy 10 years now. My journey started up in the north in Bolzano, and I was there for a few years. Absolutely love Bolzano. It's just like a postcard. But, I wanted to really experience real Italy, and Bolzano didn't really represent that for me as much as it's beautiful. And my Italian teacher in Sydney was from Puglia, and she told me to go out and check out Monopoly. And when I went to Monopoly back in 2017, it was love at first sight. I remember walking through the old town and just felt like, oh, this is my place. Like, this is where I need to be. And I've been in Puglia now on and off since 2017. I'm now in Martina Franca. And during my time living here, I've been working in the real estate industry the entire time. And I set up a consulting company back at the end of 2018, helping foreign buyers purchase real estate here. I set up the very first course in the country and the industry on buying property in Italy, and the very first digital property magazine, La Dolce Vita Lifestyle magazine. So it's been a busy journey. Last year was very fortunate to film 2 episodes of House Hunters International, one in Sicily, one in Basilicata. Just finished writing my 3rd book, which I'm going to talk all about in the book about my weird and wonderful things that I come across when I'm doing my property visits. So it's very, very, very entertaining. But yeah, life is busy. 2 little boys, crazy dog running around all the time, and things are good. I cannot complain at all.
Well, you are living the dream. I love these House Hunters International. It's so much fun and you do such a good job on it. And what I also love is that you're truly in the business of making people's dreams come true. So it must be so satisfying when people eventually get those keys to their new home.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than being able to call them up and say your offer's been accepted, and being like, it's really much being part of a catalyst of change on this journey, because you deal with someone that has had this dream for such a long time, and then they make that decision to make that dream a reality, and going through the journey with them, it is very much a roller coaster of emotions. And I'm not just a consultant. I would say that I'm a psychologist, a therapist, a friend, a personal shopper, and all the things, a meal companion, all the things rolled into one. And you do get to see so many facets of, people and, but when they get the keys in hand, it is such an incredible experience on all accounts.
I think some people think, you can just turn up to Italy and buy a house, but it's not that easy, is it? It's even, you can't even just throw money at it, can you? You need a real process to understand the laws, the culture, everything. I think it's a huge undertaking.
It's definitely not like Under the Tuscan Sun. She gets off a bus, she turns up to the house, she throws money at the agent, she, makes friends with the owner. Funnily enough, when I was in Cortona last month, we actually went to her house because I thought, we're here. And she was so gracious because she was in the garden with her husband, and I haven't actually read the book. I've only seen the film. And apparently in the book, she never got divorced. So that was all for Hollywood, right? And so this poor man who's been her husband from the beginning, he used to have these T-shirts, I am the original Frances May's husband. And there was hordes of people outside her house taking photos. It was incredible. And she was so gracious about letting people do that. But buying property in Italy is definitely not how they make it out in the movies at all.
I mean, I know a little bit about the bureaucracy, but I can't even think about it. So, look, at the moment here in Australia, we're in the process of building a new home, and I've been looking at a lot of interior design sites and picking out furniture, and it really got me thinking about Italian interior style and what it is, because I really wanted to bring some Italian elements into it. And, each year I await the annual Salone del Mobile, the big design fair that's held in Milan each year. But, when I go around Italy and I see so many Italian homes and hotels and restaurants, just as you do, I just really don't see this obsession with design reflected in regular interiors, except at maybe 5-star hotels. And why do you think that is?
Well, this is something that I laugh at quite a lot, because when I'm doing the publication for La Dolce Vita Lifestyle magazine, there's properties that I select every single week, and also seeing properties in person. Home staging is very much not a thing here, to put it very politely. And there is definitely a mismatch of various types of design. I mean, you see a lot of properties that have the old furniture from the nonna, 10 million crucifixes on the walls and the rosary beads, pictures of the Pope. And that seems to be the general style in many, 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 many homes. And there's nothing wrong with that if that is what you like. However, they seem to be very much behind the times as such. And I do see so much variation within regions of design, and then some types of that kind of design is what draws people in to a particular region for that particular way, like how a wooden beam in Tuscany, the terracotta floors, or the tiles in Sicily or Amalfi Coast, or the stone in Puglia. That can be a significant point of reference for people as to why they want to live or buy in a certain area.
I totally agree. I think people are looking for that specific look, and each region probably has a specific look. And I don't know, Nikki, it's been a long time since you were in Australia, but do you remember the Italian migrants that came out here? They brought with them a particular style, these very heavy, hardwood, large pieces of furniture that are basically indestructible. And there was one shop here in Melbourne that really specialised in that, Franco Cozzo, and he was very, very famous man actually in Melbourne. But it's that doesn't really line up with what's being shown at some of these beautiful design shows in Milan. And it's really interesting to me why it doesn't translate down, because here in Australia there's like a kind of a bit of an obsession with home renovations and improvements. And is there a particular Italian view on home decoration, as they just don't do it? Or
Well, I think it's a different mindset, isn't it? Because, you've got such an older mindset, and you might come across a house that's been, for sale, that someone's grandparents lived there their whole lives, and the parents and the kids, and that furniture that they had in the very, very beginning is still there. And the funny thing is I see a lot of this kind of like nonna style furniture, and this happens a lot in Puglia actually, that gets upcycled. And I've actually got some nonna-style furniture in my house that I had upcycled. I definitely didn't repaint it myself because that is not my area of expertise. But we put some different handles on, repainted it, and that's very much the trend now in Puglia, kind of upcycled antiques. And you get them here for an absolute steal. Like, I know that antiques in Australia and also in the UK cost an absolute arm and a leg, but these types of furniture here, it's like old nonna furniture that nobody wants. But, if you were to place that kind of like a marble sideboard, for sale in Australia, you'd be paying thousands. Here you can get it for, sometimes less than €100. It's quite remarkable, really.
that's amazing. And I think let's talk about Puglia, because, and this is, a really big reason why I wanted to talk to you. Not only do you see properties all around Italy, but you live in Puglia. And every time I go to Puglia, I sort of do a deep sigh of contentment, because they've got a really amazing way of pulling together a look and feel out of something that's really, really simple and, as you say, upcycled. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the simplicity of Puglia is something that draws people in from all over the world. And it still blows my mind if I look at something on Instagram, houses that have been done by an architect, and they're very much keeping in with the tradition of that old stone, the beautiful floors, the cementine flooring. But what I love is that just very, very simple pieces that you will find at an antique market. So every weekend in Puglia, there is a flea market, an antique flea market. And, now the sellers are getting a bit clued up because they see, hordes of expats going every single week and snapping up, these bargains. But, that is, you could have like an old ladder, for example, and that's painted and put, on the ceiling. And then they've got lights hanging from that. Or you've got the big glass green, wine bottles that become kind of ornaments, or the huge big vases. And very, very simple, but very, very effective, minimalistic style is what Puglia is all about. And it's so eye-catching, and it's something that you can really decorate and renovate something and not spend a lot of money, but make it look really characteristic, really original, and really eye-catching.
There's just something, must be the culture down there, because there's definitely this pared back look, which I find very elegant. And when it's just a selection of specific pieces, like even if it's something religious or something, I don't know how they're doing it. It's so pretty, and so you just feel really relaxed in this environment. Even each little town has its own civic pride. And even if you're not going inside the houses, you're looking at how they put their pot plants and in the pots that they've chosen. And it just is such a lovely atmosphere.
Yeah, I do feel the Pugliese, the culture, they're very proud of their region. And I have noticed that. I mean, I've lived in, different parts of the South as well. And I've always I always call Puglia like the snob of the South, because the tourism here, the streets are generally much cleaner than other parts of the South. There are people who take a lot of pride in their homes, on the outside. It's definitely got that appeal. And Pugliese people, they're very laid back. And I think probably me being Aussie, probably why I blend in so well here, and I feel so at home here, because it is such a laid back vibe, and it does have a real community feel about it. When you see these beautiful homes that have just got this very, very basic but rustic decor, it's like, oh, and it's become like the fashion, it's become an inspiration for so many people who buy properties. Like look at Colette Dinnigan's house in Cisternino. I think was it called Casa Oliviera? She has just got this beautiful rustic style about it, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's just so in keeping with the Puglia traditions and simplicity.
I think that's the real charm of it, actually, because it's not stark. It's a very elegant take on simplicity, and it's got so many nods to the local environment. You'll see these little pumi, which are the good luck charms, they're a little ornament, or they can be quite big too, can't they? They're ceramics and they signify good luck, and you can find them, but they're very elegantly done. They're not tacky at all, you know. It's a real definite look and feel that you get in Puglia. How about we take a little trip around the country? And you mentioned that you lived in Bolzano when you first arrived in Italy, and the vibe up there is totally different, isn't it?
It's very, very, very different. It's beautiful. I mean, it's very cute because everything's wood, right? So you go to a restaurant and then there's got these built-in wooden tables with the little chairs with little heart shapes cut out into the back of the chair, and everything is wood. I mean, like you wouldn't want to, forget you had candles burning in a house because you probably come home the house and be burnt down to the ground. No, jokes aside. But it is very, very much, that wood feel, and beautiful old heaters, which they call a stufa, which are made out of, I believe they're made out of like pressed metal. It is gorgeous. Could I live in that all year round? Probably not. You probably get a bit sick of the wood after a while. He was like, hang on a second, I need a bit of a break here from the wood. But it is very much built for that kind of chalet type vibe in the mountains, and yeah.
I just feel like I'm walked into a scene from Heidi, the book, when I go there. And those, like when you mention the chairs with the little hearts cut out of it, and you think, oh, that's so cute, but they all have them. And it's just the way they do things up there. I really think it's so charming, but I think you're right, I couldn't live there. Although one thing I think is amazing, and I don't know, there must be like one contractor that's doing this, but you can go up in the mountains, Alpe d'Huez, right up high, and you're going for a walk. And when you go for a hike, you're kind of probably not thinking that the bathrooms are going to be the best. My heart kind of sinks when I have to think about going to the bathroom in an outdoors friendly environment, but not there. These bathrooms are 5-star. I'm not joking.
I mean, I think the German influence, even the hospitality up there, you would have noticed that doing your tours, they really do hospitality so well. Everything is spotless. I mean, I had an operation done in a hospital up in Bolzano, and you could have eaten off the ground. I mean, I could definitely not say that about a hospital down in Puglia for sure, but they do take a lot of pride in that, in the presentation, and everything is just spotless.
I find it really fascinating how different it is. So they're about as far away from you can get from each other, Bolzano and Puglia. But let's just duck over to Venice, because Venice is an interesting one because they've got these, and the architecture is insane, right? But I feel like they could definitely do a lot of these places. You walk into the hotels and you think, oh, what's that on the bed? It's these huge, heavy drapes, ornate, like they come across very opulent, but they're very heavy, and it's a real look and feel that you get in Venice. I don't know if you remember that, but
yeah, I mean, I've been to Venice a few times, and I think it's a great place to visit. It's very, very beautiful. For me, it doesn't float my boat from would I want to spend a long amount of time there, even though it is very attractive to the eye and all that sort of stuff. But it's the architecture. Yes, very beautiful, very ornate, very over the top. It's got a lot of history behind it. So for anyone that loves that kind of history and wants to experience really like you're kind of stepping back in time into some sort of museum, it is beautiful. But to have that on the day-to-day, I mean, like, for example, few too many grappas the night before, you wake up and the next morning you've got all this kind of like frescoes here, frescoes there, and, all this wall art and kind of like really kind of all this, it's so busy. You'd be having to walk around the house with sunglasses all the time just to kind of like shield your eyes. There's a lot going on, but it is very beautiful. And some people, they go to Venice for that particular experience. But would I personally decorate my house like that? No, probably not.
No, no, me either. I just am getting the dust vibes as well. Like all I can see is this is a lot of dust being captured here. Like it's got nowhere to go. It is definitely an interesting look and feel. And I just wonder if they think that that's what people want or if that's what they like.
I think they don't care about what people want, you know. They're sticking to their culture, and that's also a good thing. Do you know what I mean? They're hanging on to it. That's their vibe. That's their way. They've been doing that since forever, and they know that people come there for that particular style. And I think a lot of Italy is like that. It's a different mindset, you know. They are very traditionalist. You know, they're proud to be in that particular region. They're proud to carry on traditions through the generations, you know.
Yeah, I do. And it is something that you do appreciate. So even if you don't particularly like that style yourself, you can appreciate that that is part of the local vibe. Whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, it's maintaining their uniqueness in this context of Europe and their own country, because obviously Italy is a very new country in the fact that it was unified only nearly 150 years ago. So that's interesting. Okay, let's take a little trip down to Tuscany. And what's the vibe down there?
I love the interior of Tuscany because you've got those beautiful big open spaces, you know, your wooden beams on the ceiling, huge fireplaces, you know, the terracotta flooring. You know, if you were to, from a, I guess, design and restoration perspective, you want to really think about a good heating system because the spaces are so big and it's cold up there. It's very cold. It's humid in the wintertime, and the interiors, like I've walked into properties in Tuscany in the wintertime and it's like, holy crap, this is freezing. And that's with all the, you know, the fireplaces going on and the radiators, because you just have these huge big open spaces and these, you know, these tiled floors, which, you know, don't really make for a warm kind of environment, but definitely in the summertime it is a beautiful place to be. You've got, you know, the beautiful hills and all that, and, you know, these beautiful old casales, these big farmhouses, you know, they are just very, very traditional. You know, you do come across some that have been restored. I mean, we do have architects that we work with that do beautiful restorations, and they do a mix of modern and traditional. So you still have your wooden beams, but you've got more, you know, modern fixtures and fittings in the kitchens and stuff like that. And it is really nice to see that blend as well.
That's my favourite, actually. I think that that's a really clever art, people who can combine those two things. And I want to let people know about a shop that I went to, actually, of all places, Genoa. And we were taken there by our friend Enrica, who lives there. And it's this store where they've just produced something that's quite magical, and it's a real masterclass in curating vintage and modern furniture pieces and objects. And I could have really stayed there all day. It's so beautiful. Like you will have like ornate mirror next to some like vintage piece from the 1950s. Somehow it really worked because it had been very thoughtfully put together. And this shop is called Via Garibaldi. Funny that. Yeah, so it's Via Garibaldi 12, and it's the name of the shop, and it is worth, I would say it's worth going to Genoa just to see that shop and what they've done in there. Yeah, it's beautiful palazzo with like even triple ceilings maybe, I don't know, really high ceilings, and lots of different pieces in this place curated into such a beautiful way. I loved it. So another area that's really interesting, and we were just talking about this offline actually, because Nikki and I managed to stay, we didn't manage to bump into each other. Somehow we were there like a week apart at this beautiful hotel in Ischia. But down there they have this real thing about patterns and tiles and colour, and it's quite in your face, isn't it? The Amalfi vibe, or what I would call the Amalfi Coast vibe.
Yeah, I mean, they have those beautiful, you know, Maiolica tiles and ceramics and beautiful big, everything's a colour pop, and I absolutely love it. But that particular hotel, I mean, I can't even remember the name of it. Is it the Regina Isabella? Was that the name of it?
Yes, it was. I never forget that hotel.
But it did look a bit tired, and as much as it was beautiful, it looked a bit tired. And I do come across this quite a lot in my travels around Italy. There is, you know, the tiles that have probably been there for decades, you know, even longer, and they sticking to that kind of traditional style. But, I do love the colours of the Amalfi Coast with the tiles and, even down in Sicily, you see that as well. I love the ceramics of Sicily. Absolutely beautiful. And that's the great thing about Italy. You can really feel like each region you go to, not only from a gastronomy perspective, but you're getting like a totally different architectural perspective in every region that you visit. It's such a variety of so many things.
Yeah, I think if you were to put it all in one room, it might be a bit much.
Imagine that. Imagine having a palazzo with all like the different regions in one palazzo. You'd be like, oh my God, you'd have a headache after a while looking at everything.
But I love Sicily as well, and I really just want my own pair of Moorish heads. I really do covet that a lot. I'd love to have a huge pots, maybe in my garden. I'm not sure, but I've noticed they've contemporary artists have been making them that aren't colourful, and they've done some really beautiful ones that are painted different colours but not in the normal designs that they did. So there's so many possibilities, and from a shopping perspective, Sicily is amazing actually. If anyone wants to go shopping, the ceramics, they've got linens, they've got a lot of different crafts that are really beautiful. And that was when I think I bought 2 extra suitcases, that one.
There's a ceramics town outside of Cefalù. I think it's called Santo Stefano Camaro. Forgive me if anyone's listening and telling me, what is she talking about? It's pronounced a different way. But I went there many, many years ago, and it's a ceramics town. It's so unheard of. Like, I was the only tourist in that town on that day, and it was July. And it's just full of local artisans, and I bought so much stuff. And it didn't have the price tag of if you were to buy something in Cefalù or Taormina or, one of the, the more in-demand kind of towns, and you can find some absolutely stunning pieces, and they have everything you can possibly think of.
That's a really good point, because I feel like there's specific towns in each region that do specialise in certain crafts. And it sounds strange to us because, a lot of us are used to going to a department store, or even if you go to a little boutique. But there are specific towns, and they are generations of people that have learned these crafts. And sometimes, you can go to like a ceramics place and feel like you're on some sort of, I don't know, I know having been in Bali, and you get taken to the craft stores and you're like, oh, no. Yeah, it's not like that, though. These people they're true artisans, and they may be working for some of the biggest designer brands that Italy has, like Dolce & Gabbana, all of these places, but they're still making their own lines, and they're absolutely stunning.
Absolutely. Very, very slightly off topic for a second, but speaking of Dolce & Gabbana and their design, they have released a brand of highlighters. Stabilo, the highlighter brand.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought like an idiot because I'm a sucker for marketing. I'm a sucker for bright colours, and I love the Dolce & Gabbana that kind of ceramic-y style vibe that they do. I spent €30 on a packet of 4 highlighters because it was a Dolce & Gabbana brand.
Oh.
And I thought, what kind of idiot would buy that? And that would be me.
I love stationery. I would buy it as long as the kids didn't nick them. Like.
It's in a box, never to be seen by the kids. Trust me.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them to borrow. Oh, sorry, Mum, I thought you weren't using them. Well, actually, you just reminded me. I think it was Dior. They've got the head designer at Dior is a Pugliese designer. Oh, she's from Puglia originally, and they've done some incredible shows down in Lecce. It's unbelievable. It just looks stunning. If you have never seen this before, go and look it up on YouTube. I think it's Dior in Puglia or Dior in Lecce, and it's absolutely stunning. And what these big design houses really recognise is the craftsmanship that goes into making not only, clothes, but the like lace or whatever that it is that they're making that can be used in homewares as well.
And they're kind of they maintain the traditions, but, give it a bit of a flair as well. And it's really, really, really beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. The one place I wanted to mention as well is Umbria, and my goodness, we're trying to tell everyone how amazing Umbria is, and maybe we'll just stop because no one seems to listen. But it is so good, and it is like a really rustic place, but they have got a really nice pared back elegant style as well. And what they're really amazing at in Umbria is linen, and they make some beautiful, beautiful things there.
Yeah, I love Umbria. As you say, you've got these beautiful medieval towns and, beautiful rustic vibe and gorgeous little piazzas and, yeah, the linens. And I absolutely adore Umbria. I was actually in Umbria, well, God, was it just over 3 weeks ago? And we went to Castiglione del Lago. We went to Perugia. Actually saw a dead body in one of the houses we saw. So that was quite interesting. He was definitely not part of the design piece, that's for sure. But yeah, we saw some beauty in Umbria that is, very much to still be discovered. I think a lot of people go to Tuscany and they choose Tuscany over Umbria. But I would say, definitely check out Umbria because it is just absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, they just really have a really nice, simple way of presenting things, which I feel is just really underrated, actually. I think sometimes, something very simple can be the most beautiful. So is there a particular style that you prefer, Nikki? Or?
I would say if I have to choose two, I do love the style of Sicily. I love ceramics. I love all that colour. And I do love the style in Puglia, all the stone and, how they mould the stone. And, I went to see a house the other day and they had this special finish on the walls and it's called tadelact. So tadelact is actually a Moroccan powder and it comes in various different colours and you mix it to make a paste and it goes on the wall. And the finish with this stone kind of sunken bath, I just took so many photos of this house and I was just like, oh my God, and this is the style that Puglia has. Very simple, very understated, but something that has so much elegance about it. And the fact that it is so understated, it makes it more appealing from a, design perspective because it's just so beautiful.
I 100% agree. And I think where you best see that sometimes is in the Masseria, so these old farmhouses. And so someone has taken the time to really thoughtfully think through even the colours that they use in the colour scheme. And it might be a lot of whitewash, but then they'll have some sort of ochre yellow or this rustic red. Oh my gosh, it just looks fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, me too. The rustic red, I absolutely adore. You can see those and even they have quite a lot here as well, those little casales. So it's like a mini masseria and the outside has still got the original colour, that kind of faded rustic red or a blue and it's just absolutely magnificent. That's the kind of stuff. And I'm like literally trying to stop the car in the middle of nowhere and take photos because it's just so inspiring because, I have my own house that I bought. I want to do the outside of the front of the house because I don't like the front of it. And I changed my mind so much. I get so kind of inspired by what I see on the daily in Puglia. And I'm like, one day it's this, another day it's this. So yeah, there is so much beauty to see down here and everywhere in Italy.
Yeah, but I think Puglia really has something very special. And if you're interested in any type of shopping for interiors or getting some inspiration, I think Puglia is a really wonderful place to go because you can really find something unique and special there, actually.
Yeah, they have these things. I'm pretty sure they must be all over Italy, but it's called Mercatino di Usato. So it's like a secondhand. So apart from having these antique markets, they have this Mercatino di Usato. So it's a secondhand shop and it's huge. Like imagine like a huge big factory. Sometimes it is a bit of a rummage. You've got to rummage, be prepared to rummage a lot, but you can come across, like old vintage crockery or, these old kind of nonna furniture pieces, which you could, strip back and put some chalk paint over it, different handles, and really give a new lease of life to something that's probably been passed down through so many different generations. And that is something that's so exciting because you could go to, dare I say it, to an IKEA or a Maison du Monde and you're getting something bog standard that's, you put together yourself, or you buy a piece that's got so much history attached to it and you upcycle it and you give it, a new lease of life and you've got all this history as well, which is really, really special.
I love it. And one of my favourite things to do actually in Milan, I don't know if you've been to the Navigli market there. It's on once a month and it's amazing. Like they call it a flea market, but there's you can buy chandeliers.
Yes.
I mean, and I think that one would be a little bit pricey, but all the towns in Tuscany seem to have some sort of market, or the bigger towns. Lucca has one, Arezzo, and this is not your average flea market. You can pick up some really special things there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of having a chandelier, but with two little kids that love to launch things through the air, probably not a good idea for now. But yeah, I see people that I'm following on social media who buy these chandeliers from these kind of flea markets and polish them and clean them up and put them up on the ceiling. And they're such a statement piece. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, well, Nikki, thank you so much for coming on to chat with me about interiors today. I know many of our listeners would love to learn a little bit more about you and how you help people find their dream homes in Italy. How can they follow you and learn some more about that?
Thank you so much. I hope, whoever has listened to this has laughed along with my Aussie humour, which does get me in trouble at times. So if anyone wants to contact me, my social media handles is instagram.com, La Dolce Vita Lifestyle Magazine, and instagram.com, Nikki Taylor's _ La Dolce Vita.
Oh, it is certainly La Dolce Vita. So, Nikki, can you let me know when you find that perfect Masseria for 250,000 euros or less?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm just joking, everyone. You're going to need a few million for that anyway. So if you're looking for a beautiful Italian property, Nikki can help you find it and no doubt give you some tips on how to decorate it. So grazie, Nikki. Thank you for joining us on Untold Italy.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed our chat about Italian interior decoration with Nikki. I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to get back there in a few weeks and cast my eye over a few special potential purchases. I'm always tempted by table linen and also ceramics or something really whimsical from brand Fornasetti. It will be a little Christmas present to myself. And this just reminded me of how you can really lean into your passions when you travel. Our interior designer, Lauren, has a friend who goes to Milan Design Week every year, and I'm sure she has an amazing time exploring deeper into the Milano design scene, no doubt including the Navigli Canal Side Market I mentioned earlier, which is well worth planning your visit around if you're curious about antiques. Do you have a passion you're keen to explore when you're in Italy? Or are there some places that have inspired how you decorate your home? I'd love to know. In the meantime, head on over to our episode show notes at untolditaly.com/249 for episode 249 for a list of the places we mentioned and all Nikki's contact details in case you're ready to stop dreaming and start searching for your own perfect pocket of Italia. Grazie. Thank you for your ongoing support of Untold Italy. We truly appreciate all of you, our listeners, from joining us from all around the world. We would love it if you help spread the word so we can reach more Italy-loving travellers, and the best way that you can do that is by leaving us a 5-star rating or review on your favourite podcast app. That's all for today. Next week, we're celebrating a big podcast milestone, 250 episodes, and we have a little something special planned. But until then, it's ciao for now.
The Untold Italy podcast is an independent production. Podcast editing, audio production and website development by Mark Hatter, production assistance and content writing by the other Katy Clarke. Yes, there are two of us. For more information about Untold Italy, please visit untolditaly.com.